Let me go to Vikram ji.
Thank you so much. I think what you began the whole discussion with, that this myth that is always dinned into our heads of a very, very linear, a very monochromatic, non-violent struggle, almost going frame to frame like a Attenborough film, is what we have made to be, learn as Indians, as students about why we got freedom. Dispassionately looks at what are those milestones or touch points in the struggle of our freedom where the British actually made concessions. लातों के भूत बातों से नहीं मानते हैं. So every time there were violent uprisings, it was only then that it seems like the British would actually listen to any demands from the Indian side for any modicum of at least self-governance or a greater participation in the process of government itself. Finally, the specter or the fear that there will be a repeat of 1857, where there will be a mass massacre of Europeans like it happened in the Kanpur Chhavni in 1857. That was the fear that kept the British away and ensured that all left in a haste. They were actually supposed to leave sometime in June, July 1948, 1 year in advance, without even making proper, conditions for a partition of the country. All the bloodshed, the confusion, the mayhem that followed. That was the haste with which Mountbatten was told that whatever you can salvage from that wreckage, you just come back with all of that. Under Gandhi also, when you see, every time the movement was speaking, the next was, of course, the civil disobedience movement in 1930, and then the Quit India movement about which he spoke about. The non-cooperation movement, it was still gathering momentum, but just at the time it was supposed to reach its peak and everyone was galvanized, so many people, common people, one feels sorry for them that they gave up so much, they gave so much sacrifices. The movement was pulled back on the false premise that in some small police station in Chauri Chaura or somewhere there was some violence. So every time the movement goes to its peak, it is pulled back into the shell. Similarly, fighting for, you went back on it. The Congress, in a haste, this Quit India was launched, and within a week, all of them were put in jail, and there was absolutely no program, plan of action, and so on. So I think the time has come, Abhijit ji, as you mentioned, to reevaluate the role of who were the true heroes and heroines of our freedom struggle. 75 years have gone. And I think we would be doing great injustice to the memories and valor of all these people, the countless revolutionaries, armed, strugglers, have not, actually identify these heroes. And so we do not do that now when we are celebrating the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. I think we will be a very, very ungrateful nation who does not give credit where it's due to the actual people who sacrifice their everything for our freedom.
In a few seconds you will be listening to scholar and historian Nasim Yousaf. He is a grandson of Nobel Prize nominee Allama Mashriqi and a nephew of Nobel Prize nominee Dr. Akhtar Hamid Khan.
Ladies and gentlemen, as a grandson of Allama Mashriqi, I have been asked many times to record my views on the history of the Indian subcontinent. I am using this opportunity to briefly address the people of the subcontinent and to take a few minutes to express my thoughts on this topic. I hope you will listen carefully to what I am going to say. It is entirely up to you to seek lessons from the mistakes of the past. Remember, history is unforgiving to nations that mutilate their past. I urge you to wake up and realize why India was divided. Pakistan and India's history is written under the influence of the All India Muslim League and the Indian National Congress respectively. It is nothing but a pack of utter lies. The All India Muslim League slogans of Hindu domination and Islam in danger in a united India were not based in reality. The two-nation theory was publicized to spread communalism and to seek political agendas. Many people might be surprised to hear that the Muslim League's victory in the 1946 elections was on the crutches of the powerful government bureaucracy. Those of you who have not read history should know that partition brought miseries that are rarely seen in history. Millions of innocent Muslims, Hindus, and Sikhs were brutally slaughtered. My heart bleeds when I think of the suffering of helpless individuals and the females who, at the time of partition of India, were ruthlessly raped. They became victims of the confrontational and selfish politics of the All India Muslim League and Indian National Congress. It is unfortunate that a Holocaust of this magnitude continues to be dismissed for political reasons. As you must know, division has not resolved the political differences between Pakistan and India. In fact, it has aggravated the situation and has established two hostile neighbors now armed with deadly nuclear weapons. Partition has created more and serious issues than the ones that existed prior to 1947. It has left behind a legacy of hostility that probably will never end unless people on both sides change their attitude and seek unity. Furthermore, writers, speakers, and the media must stop justifying partition on the ground that Muslims and Hindus cannot get along. The Muslim-Hindu conflicts that existed during the pre-partition era were blown out of proportion for political reasons, and using them as justification for partition does nothing other than generate greater hostility. We must learn from the lessons taught by Allama Mashriqi, a true visionary. He clearly saw what would happen if India was divided. He provided solutions, including the Constitution of Free India, to resolve issues. He also sent a telegram to the last Viceroy of India, foreshadowing murder and ruin of at least 10 million Indians. The respected Mashriqi knew why India was being divided into three pieces. Therefore, in 1947, he made a final effort to stop the breakup of India and called 300,000 Khaksars to assemble in Delhi on June 30, 1947. This was not acceptable to leaders whose political ambition was attached to the division of the country. Therefore, the partition plan was accepted prior to the assembly of the Khaksars. Most people are unaware of the fact that this struggle almost cost the respected Mashriqi his life, as he was stabbed and arrested in Delhi on June 9, 1947. This was the day that the Muslim League accepted partition plan. Fortunately, Allama Mashriqi survived the attack. Such important facts, including his strenuous fight against foreign rule, have been concealed on purpose. Keep in mind, the British would not even have spoken to Indian leaders or thought of transferring power had there not been a credible threat to their rule from Allama Mashriqi and his well-disciplined private army of millions of Khaksars. Mashriqi's fight against the foreign rule has deliberately been kept out of public knowledge in Pakistan and India. In both countries, The Khaksar Tehreek's material from 1930 to 1947 were confiscated immediately after independence. No one knows whether these documents were burned or are rotting somewhere. These actions were taken for a definite purpose and are the reasons that the people of the Indian subcontinent have the false impression that freedom was mainly achieved by the Muslim League and Congress. Allama Mashriqi is an unsung hero. He played a major role in bringing freedom to the Indian subcontinent. He served his nation with utmost devotion and in return sought no monetary gains or public office. A major purpose of my works as a grandson of Allama Mashriqi is to enlighten people about the buried facts of Pakistan and India's freedom. I would be failing in my duty to the people if I kept those realities to myself. At the end of my message, I would like to thank all those who have appreciated my works on import and export, Dr. Akhtar Hamid Khan and Allama Mashriqi. I also particularly wish to thank those who have encouraged me to continue uncovering the hidden facts regarding the freedom movement and the division of India. Ultimately, my mission is to correct the distorted history of Pakistan and India, help people understand what true leadership should be about, and to unite individuals of all races against any forces that divide them. Thank you very much for listening to me. All the best.